Hello from Trend Signal for our review of the data and events of the week beginning the 16th of November. After the horrendous events in Paris on Friday evening, the markets are basically a knee-jerk reaction, really. We've got equities down, bonds up, or at least that was the beginning on Monday morning, although a lot of those moves have already been reversed. Certainly the DAX, this is a 50-minute chart on the DAX I'm just showing here, and you can see that the index has erased all of those gains and some by 9:30 on Monday morning. And that is something that history tends to suggest does happen. These losses tend to be short-lived, whether it be from the bombings on the railway in Madrid in March 2004 or our own coordinated suicide bombing attacks that hit central London in 2005 on 7/7. Those losses lasted less than a day. In fact, the more the events happen, the more markets become less concerned about them. Nevertheless, there has been a little bit of flight to safety in our markets in general. Gold has precious metals generally actually have rebounded, whilst bonds have rallied as well, and equities that were under pressure, but I see a lot of that being reversed. Other news, we have had data on, just get to the right page here, we've had data on from Japan, basically GDP data for the third quarter, minus 0.2%. So there you have it, 2 quarters of negative growth. Basically means Japan has fallen back into recession, as you can see from the headline on the Financial Times, which means that this is the second recession now for Prime Minister Shinzo Abe since he came to power in December 2012, I believe. So that may bring into sharp focus the Bank of Japan's monetary policy meeting towards the end of the week on Thursday. So, quick review of the markets. Last week, indices all gave ground. FTSE shedding 235 points. The Dow 665 points. That's what, 3.7%. In common with the Standard & Poor's, the S&P 500 shedding 76 points, which is 3.6%. The DAX also weak, but the weakness in the euro perhaps supporting some of those big exporters in Germany and France. 279 points, the fall on the DAX, 2.5%. The one standout market, the Nikkei, which is really down to the weakness in the Japanese yen, up 331 or 1.7%. So in contrast to all the moves in Europe and the US, the Nikkei quite strong. Dollar, mixed week really, flattish against the euro, but sterling had a significant rebound, and I call it a rebound because the previous week sterling got pretty much hockeyed by events, and we can see here the sell-off the previous week, taking it all the way down to 150.50, but currently trading just above the 152 handle. So last week rebounded about 180 points, which is about 1.2%. Other big moves on the markets, some significant weakness in precious metals and indeed base metals actually, but gold had fallen $5 last week, fairly modest when one looks at the other markets. Silver off $0.50, which is 3.5%. Copper, a base metal, that was down 3.3%, so under pressure. Platinum and palladium were the two big moves. If I show you platinum first, that fell, you can see this chart here, platinum fell $79. Let's just put on the daily chart, let's get that right. Platinum fell $79 last week. You can see here the significant fall on that particular market, and that's 8.5%. But the prize to the biggest faller actually goes to palladium, which fell $82 by my reckoning here, which is what, just over 13%. So some significant moves. Crude oil as well. Brent crude, $3 fall. That is what, 6.7%. US oil or WTI, that fell $3.80, which is 8.5%. And I think this is all on the back of the IEA, who said that stocks in developed countries had ballooned to almost 3 billion barrels, which is equivalent to more than a month's supply of global oil consumption. So commodities really under pressure. Certainly last week, a fresh wave of selling, really kicking prices on precious metals, base metals, to multi-year lows. Significant moves, really. I guess it's not surprising that a lot of the miners and the oil majors in London suffered, and that explains the reason why the FTSE tends to be the weaker of the major indices. So stocks generally succumb to about a profit taking. Let's look at the data and events this week. We've already had our prelim data, GDP data from Japan as discussed. Mario Draghi is talking twice this week, in fact, and he's already reiterated his desire to act in December and ease. The speech at the end of the week, I think, will probably provide more interest, where he has a keynote address at a Frankfurt banking congress. So I think that is the one, 8 o'clock on Friday morning, will be of greater interest, I suspect. We have minutes from the Reserve Bank of Australia on Tuesday, and then we get into the inflation, or what should really be called deflation numbers now. The first one on Tuesday from the UK at 9:30. Not inflation, but deflation, forecast for minus 0.1% there. And then in the afternoon, we've got the US CPI reading as well, reversing the previous month's minus 0.2% with a plus 0.2% expectation there. The core number is the key one to follow. Then we have probably the main event of the week, really, the minutes from the Federal Open Market Committee. This is the rate-setting committee of the Federal Reserve, the US Central Bank. 7 o'clock in the evening on Wednesday, we'll get to hear exactly what are the thought processes of the Federal Reserve. For the time being, the markets are discounting a rate hike in the December meeting for the FOMC. So these particular minutes will be very interesting to make sure that the market has got those numbers correct and are expecting that rate rise as discussed. On Thursday, we have the Bank of Japan following the pretty shocking GDP numbers. I think it's highly likely that the Bank of Japan will at least make comment and perhaps look at taking further monetary stimulus measures to help the Japanese economy, which is in a technical recession now. Retail sales in the UK, Philly Fed manufacturing data, important number out in the States, the largest federal district or manufacturing district, reporting at 3 o'clock on Thursday afternoon. And then, as I said, we've already discussed Mario Draghi, his keynote speech on Friday morning, which wraps the week up. Thank you very much for listening. Bye for now.
If you would like more information about trading the right way, Trend Signal is giving you the opportunity to see and hear about its services live at a free online seminar. Take a look at the Trend Signal website for the latest events and to book your free place.